Hey there, today we're going to be taking a look at Insurgency Sandstorm and in the original Insurgency running on the i5-1135G7. Now overall the performance on this is not looking great. This is at 1080p low. Really the average isn't too bad, but the 1% lows and those frame times are not looking great, and that's really the determining factor on whether or not this is playable. This is running on a modded server, which really, it's just a hot potato server. Enemy dies, they drop a Molotov, and that makes it so that the game is really a lot more intense to run. As you can see, as the enemy just dies there and the fire stacks up, you can see the frame rate and the frame times really start to tank. And in those situations, that's really where you're going to feel the biggest performance hit. Those are the moments where you're really going to feel the biggest performance hit. Overall, though, I would say that the experience at 1080p low is not really playable. This is pretty much just pushing it on what you could do here. You could get better performance if you play on vanilla servers, but this is really a worst case scenario, and I feel like if you can't run this, you really shouldn't be playing the game, because you will have those moments where suddenly a Molotov will go off in front of you and your FPS will tank. So I think this is a good benchmark to see whether or not you could run this game at these settings. I'm going to let it play out a little bit, and then we're going to switch on over to 720p. So switching on over to 720p, you can see that the frame time really starts to improve dramatically. And really that's the biggest advantage here. Not only are we getting above 60 frames per second average, we're also getting double-digit 1% lows, and those frame times are making this experience feel way smoother. Even though we're dropping below 60 frames per second every once in a while, you can kind of see that overall the experience is just so much better. But those spikes in the frame time you can really feel. So while we're a lot more playable, I would say that this gaming experience would really depend on what your tolerances are. If you're someone who is coming from consoles, you're going to have a pretty decent experience here, especially if you don't mind 30 frames per second. You lock this to 30, you're going to have a much more consistent experience. But if you're somebody who really just does not mind fluctuating FPS like this and has played games at low settings, this is actually a lot more playable than I was expecting out of this system. So we're gonna just let this play out a bit just so you can see a little bit more of the performance and overall how it runs. I would say at this point we are within playable territory, and this would really just come down to whether or not you can tolerate these settings and the still inconsistent frame rate.